Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Greg's Treasures. This video is a little different. I'm not out detecting this time around. So one of my favorite YouTubers to watch is Michael Oliver. And he uses this shovel that's always just kind of caught my attention. I'm sure a lot of other viewers of his as well. But he uses a green plastic shovel and he's able to scoop the sand, pull it out, wave his coil directly over to see if the target's in there, because there's no metal in it. It's not really it's a shovel he's modified into a sand scoop. I'm going to try to do the same thing, so I don't want to take credit like I'm coming up with this and, you know, as my idea. It's Michael Oliver's idea. His shovel's awesome. He did a video years and years ago kind of explaining the basics of how he did it, what he got, and the approach he took. So I'll put my twist on it. I'm out here working with Tom. I ended up finding a polymer shovel. It's a polymer one-piece shovel. There's no seams in it. And I found it at the Tractor Supply warehouse, and it's essentially a manure shovel. You'll find it in the barn section. I went to the shovel section, I didn't see anything. I asked about it because I saw it online, and they brought me over to where the barn tools and stuff are, and that's where they brought me. So I picked up two of them. So I've got this poly shovel, Harris Farms poly shovel, and they say virtually unbreakable. We'll test that, and we're gonna modify this. So our idea is to, Michael Oliver, he cut his at an angle so he has somewhat of a point, drilled a bunch of holes, bent his handle so it's more usable. What we're going to do is actually reshape the shovel part into more of a curve. And then what we'll do after that, we're not sure until we see our curve, and we're kind of going to come up with it as we go. So as of now, we want to do this just with basic tools because none of us are machinists or anything like that. So we got really ghetto. We've got the shovel strapped to a 5-gallon drum that's metal, and we ratchet strapped it, and we put a shovel behind it just to hold form, and we're going to use a heat gun to kind of make more of a bowl out of this. So we'll get that started, and we'll check in with you on the next step. So we're still going with the heat. Real slow process because we only have one heat gun. We ended up putting a second strap on it just to kind of even it out, and we're not trying to get it too hot all at once. We're trying to evenly heat it up to get the plastic to kind of relax and mold itself around so it holds form and it's strong. So if you heat it evenly across, it should eventually take form. It looks to me like it's taken form pretty well, and we'll compare it to the shovel we haven't messed with yet. After we finish this first step. Off of the bucket here, and we've got quite a drastic curve compared to the flat, the way it started. We may find something a little smaller diameter to heat it up to get more of a curve. We'll see. Since we're going to end up cutting the corners off anyway, Tom's drilling holes. He's going to install a turnbuckle, and then we'll just tighten that up as we heat up the center and hopefully pull the curve a little more drastic. All right, so turnbuckle's installed. We've got it pretty good and tight where it's holding. Now if we just apply, and we can apply now heat to the front end back of it, but we're gonna just start heating up the center area. Not too much though, we don't want it to crease in the center. We're trying to get just that nice smile. If when we release the turnbuckles, it's somewhat like that, that'll be perfect. All right, we'll see how we do. All right, we got it to bend that time with the turnbuckles. All right, on to the next step, which we haven't figured that out yet. All right, so now we got it laid out on the table because we want to put a curve in the handle so it's not a straight shaft like a shovel would be. But I want the bend to happen right here, right before it hits the actual shovel opening. So we're heating this up all around, and then we're going to put a bend to it. So it started to get some bending happening while Tom was putting pressure on it and I was heating it, but now he's got it kind of wedged up around whatever we could find. In this case, his electrical box. And then if you're just heating one area, it's going to bend in that area. So he's just going to keep going back and forth and see if we can't get a bend. All right, so that's the angle we came up with for now. If we don't like it, we'll change it and make it more drastic. But that looks pretty good. The next step's going to be cutting the flanges off of the end and then I'm drilling out the holes in a pattern so we can sift out the sand. Got the rough angle cut in there. Now we're going to go in and smooth that out. It's coming along pretty good so far. So now I'm trying to pattern out holes. Basically I put tape where I don't want the holes to be, and then I just started on the edge of the tape, and I measured, just to keep it simple, 1 inch across, did a line, and I'm drilling the holes every inch. And I haven't come up with how I'm going to do it around the edges yet, but I'm leaving the edges with no holes. I'm also going to leave this curve alone and not put any holes, because that's the strength of the shovel. But I am going to put some up in here, so if you kind of hold it at an angle and you're sifting it out, it'll go out the back. So that's what I'm doing, drilling some small pilot holes. Obviously I'll make these bigger, so we'll see. Alright, so I got all the holes pre-drilled, and I'm going to use this stepper bit, and I think the biggest size on this is a 1/2 inch, but I'm going to be using the whole thing. Still smaller than a dime, and that's about what most scoops come anyway, so here we go. All right, final product. We still have to test it, obviously, but here's the handle bend difference. Got the shape of the scoop different. We heated that up and kind of gave it more of a curve. Got all my holes drilled. This thing should be pretty slick. Might need to heat it up and bend the handle a little more, but I think up in the dry sand, this thing's going to be just amazing. So we'll get out there and test it and see how it does, and figure out what little modifications we want to make to it. But for the most part, I think that's a nice, lightweight, pretty sturdy plastic shovel. All right, let me get my light on better. We're out here testing the new scoop. It's extremely lightweight, just dragging it behind me for the little bit of time we've been here. Quarter type of tone, is kind of hopping around. One thing we're gonna do is the back edge of this, it's rounded. We're gonna heat this up and make it more flat so it's easier to push. But how cool is that? Just go over the scoop. There's no metal in it. I know I have it in the scoop. So, see how the holes work. Or you could do pinpointer and go into the scoop, but you know it's in there, so that's kind of cool. Probably need to drill maybe a few more holes, but there's a quarter. So dry sand, this thing's working awesome. Let's see if we can't find a target in the wet. Another quarter tone.
What's it talking?
30. Seems pretty stable, like pushing it in. I actually see it on the edge, I think. No, I don't. All right, it's in there. We're gonna practice the sifting technique with this scoop.
A little more holes.
Yeah, we definitely need some more holes. Cigarette butt. And yeah, definitely more holes. Another quarter.
There we go.
All right. Mid-20s out in the surf. Let's see how the shovel does. This might be better out in the surf because the water can sift it out for you. Oh, it's in the scoop. And of course we're out here at damn near peak high tide. Look at that. Yeah, it works pretty darn good in the surf. And I didn't really have any issues pushing it into the sand. It did okay. So that's pretty good.
Give it a push in the water.
I mean, same idea really. It takes it up pretty good and it feels nice and strong. Cool. All right, so we're back at the house obviously, and we definitely have some work to do, and that's okay. I kind of expected that because it's just trial and error, because we're just seeing what works and what doesn't. One thing that doesn't work for sure is this curvature. When I'm trying to push my foot on it, it kept wanting to slide off the side. So we're going to come up with something. Haven't decided what yet or how we're going to do it, but we've got to take this roundness out of the back. We need to flatten that out so you have a good foot push where your foot doesn't want to slide off the side. Secondly, obviously I need to put a lot more holes in here. A little smaller than I have. I can go in between each one, or I'll come up with something, but just get a lot more holes in this so the sand sifts out pretty well. But the way Michael Oliver does it, he does the scoop and then he drags it back, make sure it's on the scoop. Then he takes his pinpointer in here and he does that kind of thing. I'm personally more into getting the target quickly and moving on to the next. Time is you know, the more time you take trying to find one target, you're missing out on a bunch more. So I'm going to do a lot more holes in this. Tom's got some good ideas to try and flatten that out to make it just reshape what we have. I was kind of thinking maybe we could do with the pieces we cut off of the end, actually kind of mold them or plastic weld them back onto here to give kind of a foot push, but we're going to work on that. And then the last thing is, it felt really sturdy, but there is a little bit of flex in this handle that doesn't, I don't know, it'd be better if it was a little more rigid. And I know this handle's hollow. I don't know how thick it is, but in the middle it is hollow. Maybe we could drill a hole up here, pour something down in here that'll harden and actually stiffen up this, which will add to the weight, but not by much. It's still going to be much lighter than a metal scoop. All in all, this is a good start to a pretty awesome scoop, and this thing did really well out in the wet sand. It cut in nicely. It's just a trial and error, and we're gonna keep on improving it, and I'll probably do a part 2 video of all the little modifications we do to this moving forward. And before we even start doing this one, we're gonna work out all the bugs on our prototype here, and make it really an easy scoop to use. So pretty excited with it, and it's a fun project. And you know what, I don't even think I mentioned the price yet. $25.99. So for less than $30, you can have a little project and just kind of have some fun with it and see what works for you. But that's what we're going to do. I'll do a follow-up video of the modifications we do in the future, and I'm sure I'll be using it in a lot of my videos. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.